Welcome to Raising Your Spirits. Our hope is to help you make positive changes by providing guided messages from Spirit. Tuning forks, crystals, and distance healing are how we pass those messages from Spirit to you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your vibrational growth with us. Your host for this version of Raising Your Spirits, Tony Ginnis.
Glad everybody can make it to today's version and today's edition. We are looking at what do you believe? We want to give you the idea or the concept of what belief is all about. First of all, today's color is red. The red is more of a fire element, but it's all about release of something you really felt that you believed in, and all of a sudden something happens where it sort of challenges that belief to get you to go to something else. I'm not sure if it's higher, but it's better. And so Spirit wanted to really give the difference between what belief is and why we strive to get to there so much. I mean, we spend a lot of time and effort to try to believe in ourselves, believe in our work, believe in love, believe in all the things that we were taught that are of value as we were growing up. And there's always this self-confidence, there's always this doubt in all of that, and we want to give a really clear perspective of why belief is what it is and why staying there isn't the most optimal. In other words, why being in a heightened state of belief, we would think that would be the highest state, right? That would be the achievement, is we want to believe so that there's no doubt. And Spirit says that is impossible. Because belief in itself has all to do with the mind believing. It's about we believe in ourselves, we believe in our work, and that because our brain, our mind, is now convinced that this is what we need to believe in now. And so in doing that, it's always a mind job. It is always something that your mind is going through its editing department and says, yep, we have the stamp of approval. We approve this. And that's not where Spirit is. So Spirit has nothing to do with belief. Okay? We didn't say this before because the vibration of this group that is coming in, often every week, you're all getting higher in vibration. So Spirit has to step it up. You have to sort of bring in different things to get you to this other state that will be more beneficial, more optimal for you. So now that we know that belief has all to do with the mind, then what is the real thing here? Now, since looking at your belief in yourself, is a mind-driven goal, we still have to realize that in anything coming out of the mind, we'll always have doubt. So if you want to get to a point, at least in the past, where we want to believe in something so strongly, it removes all doubt. That's impossible. Because by doing that, it is still a mind-driven energy. And so you're going to have doubt, you're going to have uncertainty, you're going to have moments of weakness, you're going to have insecurities, because that's what the mind does. It constantly gives you that second unnecessary part of what this world offers as a bonus. So you're always sort of fighting against yourself. And so Spirit has some other ways that we can do this. The other things about believing is you believe in yourself, you believe in an afterlife, you believe in maybe a phase in your life that perhaps now that I'm at this age or at this stage of my life, some people feel that I should be somewhere else or I should be further along than I am. And it isn't any of that. In doing the belief thing, Spirit wants to sort of highlight how we should curb the doubts first before we move on to the next, okay? So now that we realize that belief is in our mind, one of the things that is constantly tripping us up is doubt. So we want to address that. So this is 4 things that people do that perpetuates this doubt. This is why when you feel good some days, you have a high confidence, you feel like you could conquer the world, then other days you fall. You feel like you can conquer the world and then you fall. And it's because of a certain pattern, and we're going to highlight them today. The four that we have, the first one is keeping doubts within yourself instead of venting to other people that don't have the capacity to know what to do with it. It seems therapeutic and you feel better as you vent and you have that energy out of you. But what it also does, it reinforces the negative thoughts you have inside of you. And anything reinforced, if you reinforce anything, it gets stronger, doesn't it? If you reinforce your banister on your stairs, it gets stronger. If you reinforce something in your car that's loose, it gets stronger. So when you reinforce negative energy, it gets stronger. And that's why those are the days that you have doubt and you fall. It says, oh, I know I could do this. Oh, I can't do this. I know I could do it. That's where that up and down thing goes, because we bring it out in other people. The other part of this is that you can't expect your partner, your family, or friend to always be in the headspace to receive your negative energy. It is one's own job to pull yourself out of your negative thoughts. Now, Spirit wants to highlight here that they're not saying you got to do this all by yourself. That's not what they're saying. They're saying don't bring it out in people that are unqualified and they have no idea what to do. All they can do is gossip, or all they could do is say, try harder. That doesn't work. So if you're going to work with doubt in that way, there are people you could find, whether it's a person like myself, and we are all over the world, okay? And there are people that could help you, whether it's mentally with a psychologist or something, or whether it's something spiritually like myself, or a person who works with crystals. Somebody to say, look, I need this, because you are responsible for your own mental health. And if you need something, you go and get it. And Spirit will show you the way along the way. So it doesn't mean you got to do it all yourself, like inside. In time, yes, you can do everything yourself. It's just that it takes so much longer in the beginning because we're not fully connected to Spirit. And that gets stronger as we go, all right? Number two, the things that we do as a human is that we will continue to suffer if you have an emotional reaction to everything that people say about you. True power is sitting back and observing the things with a mixed sense of logic and feelings. So there's no reaction. Somebody says, I don't think you're a very smart person, or I don't think you'd be very good in that business, or I don't think you're going to ever attract your soulmate, or I don't think, whatever that is from other people. If that gets you mad, or if that gets you sort of out of sorts, it means words can control you. Right? Words can control you. And I'm not saying it shouldn't. I'm saying, or what Spirit is saying, is look at the reaction that you have. And if you just sit back, take a deep breath, and just look at the logic and the feelings you have toward what a person just said. Because if they can control you, then anyone can control you. So it's all about not the peaks and the valleys and all of that. It's just coming up with an equilibrium. So it's almost like it's a very gentle wave. You have your good days and you go up a little bit. The ones that you could really feel that you're on is that when you get fantastic news, what is your reaction? Is it like you start dancing on the street because you got an A in a subject that you wanted, or you got something and you just go over the top happy? And then something not so good happens and you're in the dumps. That's the reaction we're looking at and talking about. So when something good happens, you could say, hey, that's good. I am really happy. I'm doing great. Not so good? I'll have to revisit that. You see, your energy went down a little bit, but it didn't peak and bottom out and just totally tank. So that's what you're working on. When you get news, look at your reaction. Mom, I'm going to quit school. Have you thought about this, son or daughter? I am going to go to Europe. I'm going to go to a circus and do all these crazy things. Well, it looks like and it sounds like you've thought it out. Do you need anything from me? You see, there's no reaction or very little reaction. And oftentimes when people give you very, very critical news, they're looking for a rise out of you. And if they're not going to get it, you sort of said, I wonder why they didn't have anything, because they probably know I'm going to fail. But they don't know for sure. It's all assumptions. The third thing that we do, don't overwhelm people with kindness. People do this a lot when they are at a point where they believe in themselves and you can do this too. I want you to be just like me, right? We take perhaps a friend or a neighbor that's not doing so good, and what we want to do is transfer our good feeling and our confidence over to them. But that's not how it works. You can't push motivation in a person. You could pep them up and perk them up, yes, but you can't give them purpose. Purpose comes out of a person. The things that you do comes out of you. It doesn't go in. It comes out. What a lot of people will do, so instead of that, you offer people silence and let them find their own answers, because too many people all they want is to distract you, to show them attention due to their belief that they are not enough. Sometimes it's a trap where somebody says, I really don't feel that good. And you'll look in the driveway and the person has an Audi. They're living in a $1.5 million home, and they're saying, I don't feel very good. It says, okay, obviously you want attention. You don't certainly want any lessons on manifesting. And so when you see that, they have everything and they're still down, you can just say, I have faith in you. I know you're going to work this out. In other words, there's no advice, there's no direction, because you just feel that you're going to be putting in your heart and soul to try and help this person that's down, only to find out that they just feel left out. They need attention. Anything you told them, they won't do any of it. That happens a lot. In my beginning years, I did that a lot. And spirits, in the end, kept saying, well, that didn't work either. That didn't work either. So it's always the people that aren't asking, and then they finally ask. It says, okay, I need a little help here. I could do this myself, but I think I need a little more help. And that's when they reach out. The fourth thing that we do is that it's okay to be lost. How many times have you heard, I feel lost? A lot of times when people sit down to a session with me, and I've heard this from other mediums as well, is that one of the first things they say is, Tony, I feel lost. I just feel like I have no direction. I have no motivation to do anything. I'm just lost. And what Spirit says about that is that it means that you have never been this version of yourself before. You must get lost in an old version of yourself to find something new. Now, must be really careful here, because when somebody says they are lost, and let's say they're at a point where they're in a very low vibration to start with, they're living under violence, or they're living in a very negative environment in some ways, and they're constantly going to the point where they feel lost. So they go somewhere and they feel good, and then they drop, and then, okay, I feel lost again. And then they go somewhere, and it's almost like a repetition. I feel lost. I feel lost. I feel lost. That's not the lost that Spirit is referring to in this one, because that is repetitive. The lost that they are talking about is a new lost. Uncharted territory. Like, they've been and they've experienced so many things in their life. They've done energy work. They've worked on themselves. They meditate every day, and they're working on, and now there's something completely new came up. I feel lost. That's the lost that they're talking about. Is that there's a new version of yourself about to come, and it is good that you feel lost, because this is something new that's about to come in. But also not to say that to other people, because they'll figure that you're just looking for attention, or if you feel lost, they feel they have to help. And most times, it isn't help that you need. You just need something to listen. I mean, if you go into the woods and you park yourself under a tree, and you say to yourself, or you say to the tree, I feel lost. What's going on? And there's no advice. It's silence. Yet, if you're there for, let's say, half an hour, 45 minutes, you'll come back and you'll have an idea. You'll have a concept of what's going on. You feel better. You feel lighter because of the silence, because they know you know the answer. You just got to find a way to get it out, right? Also got to realize that for something to exist, for anything to exist, it does not, and repeat, does not need your belief to acknowledge its existence. Like, if you know that spirit, I saw a video a while back on the afterlife, and there's a few people there that didn't believe in the afterlife. So they said, no, I don't believe any of that stuff. But it doesn't matter. It's still there. It's still, it's just that they're not in a point of seeing it or doing it, anything about it. But it is still there. It does not exist in their eyes. I mean, if you go back in our history, and I've mentioned this in another class, at one point in our history, we thought the world was flat. And it was so bad that emperors and kings wanted to set sail just to show what is on the other side of the world. And because of that belief, many people, including the shipmates and all the people that were on the crew for the ship, they were so scared that they would just float off into the ocean and would fall off the other end, and everybody would perish. They would actually fall off the edge of the earth. And so try to get a crew that has that belief. So it was kind of funny because, of course, you're going to be sailing at night as well. And so the last thing you want to do is to fall off the edge of the earth while you're sleeping. But he had a heck of a time until a few people like Columbus, Magellan, and others and they just had this feeling inside of them that this can't be true. There's so many evidence. I mean, one of the things scholars were seeing, how come the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west? Like, it comes up and it goes around, and then the next day it comes around. It's almost like, why does it do that? And the other thing was, when you look at a telescope as a ship leaves, and if the telescope is strong enough, you could see the ship far away, but you cannot see the lower part of the ship. You can only see the sails because it's higher. And so as it gets further and further away, less and less of the ship is seen. It's almost like you're going over a curve, okay? And that was one thing that puzzled one person. If it's flat, then you should be able to see the ship all the time. But it gets less and less, right? So in the concept of if being round, I mean, that would make sense, and it would make sense about the sun, but they still needed conclusive evidence to all of this. For millions of years, the earth has always been round. It's always been like that. Just because there was one part of our history that didn't believe the earth was round, and even the Mayans knew it was round, and 3,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, and yet in the 1700s or 1600s, they were freaking out, or 1500s, they were freaking out. They thought the earth was flat. So there was some belief there that they didn't want to believe in that. But it's always been round. So we just had to show in some way and prove it. But the earth didn't need our acceptance. It just is what it is, right? When we start evolving and we start looking at this doubt, this uncertainty, and let's say we want to get past this. So those are the 4 ways that the doubt starts to accentuate. But when we look at the levels of believing, okay, how do we go from where we are? I mean, the first level of believing is skepticism. All right, there's 5 levels of believing. The first level is skepticism. This is when we don't believe in anything. We don't believe in ourselves. We have a sense of giving up. Nothing is really true. We just believe that when we wake up, we can see everything is physical. We believe in that. But nothing else that has lack of evidence that we believe in. And even if you have evidence, they're always going to say, well, that evidence isn't peer-reviewed, or that isn't true, or there's always something that will come into play and will keep that person in that state. Now, if a person is, let's say, so low in their livelihood, like they're homeless, or they have a very, very low energy, they're going to be skeptical that they could change. They're going to be skeptical that there's any person that might love them. Somebody could say, "Hey, dude, you're a good-looking guy." "Oh yeah, no, I just never, nothing ever works for me." So there's skepticism in that initial part of it. Okay. The second level of believing is curiosity. And curiosity usually comes in when new patterns come in that actually starts looking at the situations that they have, and it starts challenging old beliefs. Let's say you knew a friend who was also a high skeptic, and he didn't believe in anything. Let's say he has a car accident, all right, and sent to the hospital, and on the operating table actually clinically dies. And these are all of the NDEs that you could find. They're all over the internet, and there's thousands of them. So a near-death experience. So he is clinically dead for a few minutes, and then somehow they bring him back, and he's back in. And then his friend, who is waiting for him, hoping he's okay, goes to visit with him in the hospital room, And he says, "Dude, you have no idea what I went through. Man, all of a sudden I saw this light, and I was visited by what looked like an angel. I didn't understand it, but it's just as clear as you're sitting there. And they started telling me that I have value. I'm doing this, and we're going to send you back." And this is documented, and there's thousands of these kinds of very same patterns where there's some messenger, and sometimes it's a family member, and sometimes it's not somebody that they recognize. It's just either an angel or something. And they come up with a message, and we're going to send you back. They come back with these amazing stories. And so when this person who's skeptical hears his skeptical friend talk about, "Hey, dude, there's something on the earth. There's something there. There's no way because, it was just so real." And so if the person is open and realizes his friend was just like him, he says, now he's curious, right? Not believing yet, but he's curious to see, okay, what did he go through? Was it just a hallucination? Maybe one of the nurses pumped him too much morphine or too much anesthetic and went through a hallucination. There's all kinds of physical, human reasons and excuses you can come up with of why a person would feel those things. But then when they start reading books and they start reading the same thing, I saw this white light, I saw my grandmother and saw this angel and then sent me back. And that happens hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. It's like, okay, that's what my buddy went through. So it can't just be a hallucination. Because a hallucination, if you look it up, is a random event that happens, like you're in your living room and all of a sudden a tree grows out of the carpet. Okay? Something like that. It's very random. Or something comes through the window, or the window turns into a skylight and then you start flying and stuff. But you never hear that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, the same thing. It'll always be something different in a hallucination, because that's the way your mind works. It works by whatever happens in your particular case. But a past life or a near-death experience, when you're actually connected to an angel of some sort, it's very, very similar. The patterns are very, almost crazy the same. So when you go through that, then you all of a sudden become curious. So this is the same as when a person is, let's say, overweight, and then all of a sudden they lose all this weight because they are all of a sudden ready. They start hiring a personal trainer. They start hiring people to make them so that they could succeed. And then a person that is, let's say, with the same weight looks at them, "Oh, wow, what happened to you, Lord? Oh my God, you lost so much weight." And he said, "Well, I was just ready for it. I just didn't want to be in that body anymore." And so all of a sudden it's like, well, we were the same at one point, and now it's different. So the curiosity is, well, if my friend can do it, maybe I can, right? All of a sudden, the skepticism is gone. So that curiosity comes in. The third level is called discovery. Discovery is a beautiful time where you start really delving into this, whatever it is. So if it is the afterlife, you're going to read every book on heaven and you'll look at videos and articles that have to do with that subject. And you start seeing synchronicities and start seeing patterns. And it's an all discovery where you're still skeptical, but the skepticism is a little less, and it's now turning into rationalization instead of totally, no, it doesn't exist, right? That's where you used to be. Now it's you're rationalizing. Well, maybe when a person hits their head, they might see something, or if you relax, maybe that's why yoga works, because you're relaxed. Maybe that's why meditation works. Not because meditation does anything. You just said because you're relaxed and, you have this lower heart rate, and that's what they say. You have a lower heart rate, your health improves, and so on. So there's many ways to rationalize how some of these things work, but because they still haven't connected to the real essence of what really is working. So then when you start seeing patterns, they're in that self-discovery. Then that's what happens. They're looking at themselves and looking at all those things that are going on with themselves, and things are starting to make sense. I mean, they could even start going to church. They've maybe never gone to church. Maybe they never believed in God, but they figured, okay, just for kicks, I'm just going to go to a mass in the back row, and I'm just going to sit in and see what's going on, right? And various things happen there. That's people are always have a smiling face usually in church, and they feel good. But what the Spirit says is for a while that might work, and then they start getting into things that the church a lot of times omits, and that is that we are worshiping a God. As it's outside of us, but the God is actually inside of you, and so but the church will never say that. But the Spirit will say, we'll let this person go to church just to get them that extra experience, that external thing, right? So then they look at the discovery, and that's when they start looking at all kinds of religions, and none of them really sort of says what they are feeling, and so on. And so they said, okay, that's not for me, or whatever their decision is, but they are always in this state of discovery, wanting to get something new. When you start getting into that, that's when the believing state hits in, stage 4. It's actually start believing in some things. But this is where the mind starts accepting a little bit about the believing part of it. The mind has to take control and start believing in you, start believing in yourself. Now, it is true that in this stage, as we just talked about, doubt and uncertainty will come in, but that never came in before. When you're skeptical, you have no doubts. Everyone's an idiot. If you look at any skeptic, anybody that says anything, they're an idiot, so there's no doubt. So only doubt comes in when you're in that stage 4 of believing, and you start believing in yourself, start doing things, and you start getting somewhere. And you start to get more and more believing in yourself, less and less skepticism. But now the doubt starts to come in. I doubt I can do that. I don't know if I can get up in a group of people and start talking. I don't know if I could be a teacher and be in front of the class to talk to kids about what do I know? Who am I? Right? There's all that self-doubt. And so it isn't until we get to there that we have that pinnacle point. Is what is the highest point of our belief that we think we are invincible. We do get there in spurts. Sometimes we have days where you can't make a mistake, where you hit all of the green lights, where everything you do, it just seems like you're tripping over a bag of money and you fell into another bag of money. That kind of day. You can't do anything wrong. Yeah, you try to do something dumb and, you get praised for it. But everything seems to go for you. So you feel invincible. And the next day, boom, you hit rock bottom. And then doubt comes in. Now that's how the doubt comes in, because it builds you up and then it cuts you down. That's the strategy of how this global energy works. They bring you up, oh, you're so fantastic. Up, gone with the knees, all right, kind of thing. So that's what that energy does. It plays with you. However, the 5th is the pinnacle point in which we're all looking for. You're probably wondering what that is. When we get out of the believing stage into the highest point, it's called knowing. I just know. I just know. How do you know? I just know. I also have no doubt that I know. Talk to any mother. Do you think your kid will be okay in school? Yeah. How do you know that? I just know. How do you know? Can you explain that? Nope, but I know. See, the knowing is what you're shooting for. The answer is, I just know. I just know. When you know something, it's very short. When you believe in something, it's a book. It's all about proving. It's all about justification. It's all about, I know, and all about the story. And your person would talk and talk and talk all about it. That's believing. Knowing, you just know. I just know. And that's the correct answer, by the way. I just know. Because the moment you start trying to describe the feeling you are getting in your heart, I don't have to describe it. If you have to describe it, it means you're going to have to dummy it down. You got to water it down because our language is so clumsy and meaningless. We only have a few words for beautiful. The indigenous has hundreds of words for beautiful, by the way. But our language is so sloppy is that as soon as you start describing how you know, you're back to being believing again. You actually fall from the fifth stage back to the fourth because you're trying to describe a spiritual feeling that your mind is trying to understand. That is like me showing you a map of Kansas and telling you that you're in Moscow. They're not going to match. The map on one is not the terrain of another. Just before class, Spirit showed me a really quick video on a Jamaican man trying to explain to a guy about this exact what we're talking about the believing and the knowing. Okay, I want to show you this just before we head into the meditation. So, hope you enjoy this.
I think I'm a white man.
You think?
Yeah.
No, do you believe?
I believe I am a white man.
Don't you know that belief is a doubt?
How is belief a doubt?
Eh?
How is belief
Because
a doubt?
you cannot believe something and know it. If you
Wait,
take
my poor brain, wait.
hang on.
I cannot believe it and know it.
No. And you can only believe in what you don't know.
I like that. You can only believe in what you don't know.
You don't know.
That's why you have to believe it.
Yes.
Ah.
Now do you believe in your mother and father?
No, I know my mother and father.
Yeah. So, but you might believe in Jesus.
I might believe in Jesus.
Because you don't know Jesus.
I've never met
And
him.
you can only believe in what you don't know.
True.
So know that belief is a doubt.
Believe.
Now, do you know that you are a white man? If you know that you are white, explain to me how you know this.
Okay, my mother is Portuguese and she's white. My father is Scottish with blonde and blue eyes.
And you reckon they are white?
I reckon.
All right,
Yeah,
listen to this conversation.
Go on, you tell.
If I get water,
Yeah,
it's quite simple.
yeah,
I get a black can,
yeah,
a white one,
yeah.
a blue one, and a yellow one, and I fill them with water and seal them.
Yeah, okay.
When you look, would you see the water?
You can't see the water at all.
What would you see?
Nothing, just the white and the black.
You would see the different colors.
The different colors.
And
so
if you trust those eyes of yours,
Yeah.
you're going to believe that they're different, aren't you?
I will believe it.
Until you go and fucking taste them.
Correct.
And what are you going to discover?
That it's all just water.
All one. Oneness in diversity, we call it.
Yeah.
Now you see all these human beings that you see,
Yeah.
who believe that they are Japanese, Chinese, blacks, and whites.
Yeah.
They are the same. And if you go to any one of them, excuse me sir, what color is your mind? You see, you hear what he said?
He doesn't know what color his mind is.
No, go and ask a Japanese, he don't know either.
No.
Because we are spirits living in different color physical bodies. We are not our bodies. When you look with the eyes, you're not seeing me, you are seeing the body. Just like I tell you, when you look at the things you won't see the water, will you?
No.
So, when you look at my body and say I'm a black man, that is a program. You was programmed from birth, to believe that you are blacks and whites. But you fuck all like that. You're just a spirit in a body full of the same stinking shit.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, that was funny.
I thought I would mention that, okay? Okay, well, let's get right into the meditation. In this meditation, we're going to have some fun here. I want you to select something in your life that you highly believe in. I mean, we are talking about belief, so we're not going to get you to go something lower that you don't have much belief in. We want to get the highest thing that you believe in. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in spirit? Whatever it is that you feel highly belief that you are in, I want you to select that. When the meditation starts, I want you to breathe in the color red, fire engine red. So you're breathing in this red. So either you're pretending you're in a field of poppies or a field of red plants of some kind, and as you're running through, there's spores of red, and you're breathing in this red energy, and you're exhaling yellow. And between those two combinations, you're going to get an orange energy in the end. And this orange energy is where all that power is that's inside of you, okay? And I want you to ask yourself, to take yourself about a minute or so into the meditation, and I want you to start looking at this belief that you really feel strongly about, your career, your what you do for the community, whatever it is that you feel highly believed in. I want you to ask energy, is this a belief? Or is it a knowing that I need to do what I'm doing? If you get that this is a belief, those that will get that, if you start feeling that this is still a high belief, you know that as long as you are going to believe in something, doubt will always be there. So ask this energy, how do I get it to knowing? How do I get to that step? What do I need to do? Tell me more. Those that say it's a knowing, then just simply ask, how can I know more? In other words, tell me more. Okay, is that pretty clear? So we want to take whatever you feel highly about that you really believe in and how to transition from belief to knowing and what you need to do. And then just keep it going. I want you to keep looking at the sun. Those that are lying down, they feel want to close their eyes, that's okay. Just all you have to do is visualize the sun in all of this. It's the sound frequencies in the background that has most of the benefits. So if you have any earbuds or any headphones or something, you'll get a really better audio experience on this, okay? And we'll see you in about 15 minutes, okay? Take your time. Slowly come out of the state that you're in. Try and remember what you saw, what you sensed, any messages that you got. See, it's an interesting stage when we start off, even on our lowest state. There is no self-doubt because you're just low anyway. Until you get to a point where you get believing, then the doubts come in, and then when you get into this knowing state, the doubt leaves again. And so it's interesting how that works energetically. When you get so sure about something that nobody can talk you out of it because you just know, you have no evidence of it, you just know. You just have this inner resolve. Yeah. That's what the way the universe works. I mean, we hear those in quotes, but we never really know what it means. And until today, it was really clarified very clearly that when you just believe in something, not just, but you believe in something, there's always doubt. There's always that second guessing, the uncertainty, insecurities, and we're always like sort of fighting it. We're always, it's that confidence thing. But when you know something, it's so short. Like it's in short in the sense that there's not much to think about. You know it. So thank you very much, people, for sharing your afternoon with me, and I hope this was of value. You can take something away with it. I try and connect to that kind of impact that you have just by showing up. That's all you have to do. They didn't have to do anything. Just to be present. Have a good weekend, everybody. Love you all. Okay?
Thank you, Tony.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Raising Your Spirits. If there is a subject you would like to hear in a future podcast or would like to book a session with Tony, reach out to his Facebook group at Ginnis Shields Natural Healing Center or group tuning classes with Tony on his online virtual weekly classes. The YouTube channel is Suzanne and Tony 17. That's Suzanne and Tony, all one word, and the number 17. And the website is lovehigherself.com. Until next time, namaste.